Check, baby, check, baby, check. 1, 2. It's an audio check. It's your boy Tom here. I'll be with you shortly. Morning, everybody. We'll be with you in a second here, just getting the show started after not being around for a while.
Whoop whoop. Yes. You know, it's nothing much, man. Life is good. I cannot complain. Things are popping like it is hot. And life is good, dude. I think what's interesting is I'm excited to be here talking with our groups of people, our community. I've actually been neck deep in trading things and checking a bunch of stuff out. The market is, I mean, Zach Humphreys has been talking about how we're watching institutions come in, and he's really getting good at just kind of searching the blockchain and how to find real like buyers. Obviously, I look at the charts for it. I look at my wicks, right? That's really what I look at. But it's been very clear that there is a lot of buying happening. There is a lot of people who want to get in, and for whatever reason, my phone, I'm gonna have to restart my phone, man. For whatever reason, it's not wanting to work. So give me 1 second. And I'll go into this, but I'm like talking to you guys. And also, what? I now have an off switch now? Is that what? There we go. Restart. There we go. All right. So the fact is that we're watching a lot of stuff happening here where we're seeing legislation kick in. We're seeing the request for transparency in many different types of buying. So like, let's say an institution is buying crypto on the DL, doesn't want to let anybody know, and it's using that as a way to build its own cash, right? To supplement. And so they're able to buy traditional assets or whatever. Well, because of this, we're watching now with the new laws that have happened. And when we were talking about earlier off show here, like they want to get into, they're getting into crypto. It's absolutely true. And they're getting in the way, in the traditional way that institutions get in, by slow and steady, right? When they see a bunch of sell orders come in, what do? They buy it up, right? But they don't over hit the bid so that they cause a price explosion. They will typically go through and just buy up just enough where they're able to absorb that. And so, and they'll do that for months. They'll literally do it for months. Ask any stock trader, they'll sit there and tell you absolutely, right? So this is what we're seeing right now I would say over the last 3 months, right? 2 months since our November, December, January, when you look at BTC. So this is one of those things that I'm kind of excited to kind of go over a little bit today, and we can check out a lot of the cool stuff that is happening. So yeah, that's it in a nutshell for me, but I'm excited about it. I'm really excited. These markets are moving. A lot of things are happening with China. A lot of things are happening with Iran, with Israel, with like, dude, I'm on it, bro. I am like on it. Like, this is why I've been excited, because I want to talk about it. I want to see what our community says. Obviously, I always say, right, the truth is somewhere between black and white in the myriad of the gray. Right. And so this is where we can parse out between what you guys are thinking, what I'm thinking. Tom always has a great perspective on things. He's well traveled. He's been around the world. He's been in the depths and ghettos of, Southeast Asia, as well as, yeah, literally, right? Like honestly, bro, somebody asked me about you. Like, oh, Tom seems very interesting. One of my cousins, because he was looking at some of the stuff, and I said, you ever seen War Dogs? And I go, he reminds me of the not the guy who goes in and just shoots everybody. I forget his name. He's the fat guy, now got skinny and he's doing jujitsu. But the other guy, no, not Jonas, the other one. You remind me of the. Yeah, we're just like, dude, what are you doing, dude? What? But you've been everywhere, and you've been in and because you used to sell armed vehicles, but still arms. So I always joke around. All right, but you know a lot of the internal workings in those areas. So I find that so interesting from your perspective. With that said, or lack of, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Now, quick question. Are we doing, since this is more of a lax day because we're just getting back into the grind of things, do we want to do a BTC analysis? Alrighty. Okay. Good. Let me know. Yeah, it is. Here we go. Room. Yay. It's working. Everybody say happy day. Share the camera. There we go. You guys are gonna see the red light. I learned a new thing talking with my AI Eve, and she was saying, why don't you throw this in? Because I asked her, I said, how do I optimize this? And she's like, well, why aren't you throwing in ginger root? I said, but I thought that would. She's like, no, this would work here. Open up the mitochondria, cause it to work even more. So I was like, really? So it was one of those things that and dude, it straight up, I was like, holy crap, this really helped me. This got me going. I don't understand why this phone is being so douche. Yeah. Well, we've been off for about 3 weeks. So the fact is that we're at this level here. I'm actually really impressed. We actually have 15 viewers. So shout out to everyone, you guys who are watching us. You guys rock the mic. Thank you so much. Awesome. Let's go ahead and go over a quick little analysis of BTC here, what we're going to be seeing. Okay, so we've got a couple things going on. We're starting to break out potentially of the, as Tom says, the idiot box, which has been sitting roughly around this 190 or 93 down to the 84 area, 83 area. Last week, yes, this is the weekly chart here. One of the things to point out here is that last week we saw quite a bit of sell pressure. So when you go down deeper into last week, you can see that as we saw the sell pressure coming in, you can see that the sell pressure was dying off. As last week, as we were watching, or at the beginning of the year, you can see how we started seeing volume as it coming out. And I said, I don't trust this rally because we're going up first, and I think we're going to have a very up year. Right? So this rally up, I said, I can't. I was hoping that we were not going to go up, right? That was my hope. I wanted to see us go down, but this makes sense. It goes up to get sellers, and it was so, I was talking about they're going to take orders. So we know right here that there is literally orders sitting right above this high. That means these are a bunch of stops there because all these people went short. And so look, this is, talk about sad. I literally was like, ooh, they just stole it. Like there's orders sitting here. You can see right here where they did it. Like, look at all these orders they took. Like it's just literally one tick above, boop, and then just dropped it. Like, you just talk about, like, you have your orders like, don't stop me out, don't stop me out, don't stop me out, it stopped me out. Like, it takes it and then it goes down, right? Like, boop. Imagine like the doctor, whoa, right? Boop. So this is where you see it come down. We saw it play off of that weekly 8 period. You can see literally tap the weekly 8 period right here. This is it. I'm going to move this out of the way. You can see we came down to that 8 and we closed up with a nice little doji. So this week now, what I'm expecting to see is the fact that we are sitting on Monday with a doji. We're looking at it. We're seeing the supply and demand work where I see more supply. So we've got to hold, if we're going to see it continue up, we got to see it hold that weekly 8 period moving average sitting right here. It's really important, right? We want to see it hold it. Now, not meaning it could come tap below and hit the stops right here to go up. So this is this weekly 8 period sitting right here, plus the stops right below it. So something I want to see is we saw it go up last night and then we saw it come back down, and now we're sitting right here. Okay, I want to see it come down, stop these people out. Okay, sitting right here from last week's low. And then from there, we want to see it then continue up, right? Where again, taps this out, takes these stops here again. And then I want to see it come down even further. This is, for me, this is that golden play, okay? When it comes and it does this. So now people are like, what is going on? And they just sell off. I know somebody who's in on the trade here. This individual literally communicates and talks with political leaders around the world. This person's a very, very He's underground. People don't know his name, but this individual is very much, he's known in Washington. He's known in other places. And the reason why I say this is because I know that individual is wanting BTC to get to 120. He needs it because he needs it for certain things. And so, like, there's just no way that this individual is not going to get that. You know, like, it's not. It's just, you know, and if he's there, I know there's 15 to 20 other major players just like him sitting there, right? Needed to go to all-time high, right? So they can make some money and get out of this position. And so, like, for me, I think, and I told the individual, I said, we got two plays here. We can either go down, which is what we want to see first. And we want to see it get down to that 84 along with the 75, 74 area here. This is the sweet spots, right? We see it come down. It puts that wick in, right? Because remember, I'm thinking of the yearly candle. Okay, so I just got to the yearly candle right here. And you can see, I want to point out what is different with this candle right now versus all the other candles. Yearly candles.
Doesn't have any demand wick.
It has no demand. Man, you are so quick at this now, bro. I'm so freaking proud of you, dog. Ooh, getting me all excited. Making my I can cut things right here. You know, all right. So you can see here, we do not have a demand wick. So I'm expecting it to come down and put the demand wick in. That's why I am expecting us to get down to this low here, tap everybody out here who have their stops sitting right here. This is, and the reason why I'm saying this is because that is liquidity for the institutions. Those stops that you have there are liquidity for the institutions. They take it and then they reverse and take it the other way. So that's why I'm more apt to sit there and say they pushed it up first to come down. They came, and here's the thing, they didn't even go far into the yearly candle, which I thought was so interesting. They barely tapped into it. I thought they were going to go higher because we talked about that 97 to 10, you know, that 100. I honestly expected it to go up, but we barely tapped into the yearly wick sitting right here. And you saw it come up, tap it, pull all those stops, and then now it's starting to continue. So this is what I'm expecting. The first place right there, like I talked about, is that 85 area where it's last week's low. Then the next one, I think we could just see it kind of come down into that 75, potentially 67 area. If it doesn't, this is, you know, there we go. Like this is good. This is good because at least they won't stop everybody else out. I highly doubt it, but I could be wrong. Oh no! Can you guys hear me?
I can hear you.
Hello?
You're still good.
Oh, you can.
Pedro, I can hear you.
All right. Well, you guys are seeing. All right, cool. So you guys are seeing my otters here. Yay!
We are seeing some otters. Yes.
Yes. My PC is slowing down for whatever reason now. It was just working amazing. Why are you?
It's downloading something. Your connection's good. It's not your connection's issue.
Okay. All right, perfect. Can you hear me now? Is that better?
I can.
Okay. Yay. Awesome. Okay. So I'm watching the market here. We have a slight baby wick right here. So we came down into demand, went up, went into supply, this is how it's supposed to work. We go from stop area to stop area to stop, or liquidity area to liquidity area to liquidity. Liquidity demand to liquidity supply, liquidity demand to liquidity supply. This is how it works, what the market does. And that's why we have those higher highs and higher lows. Right now, we're setting up for a higher high, but I think we need to first go higher low. So this is where I'm paying attention to. I think, again, I thought we were going to come up and tap that 96 to 100,000 area. It's not. We're starting to see the 100-day period moving average now starting to show more of a descent down here. So again, I think this week we will come down, and that weekly candle will cause us to come tap into these lower levels. It's good where we're at right now on the daily level, because you can see here, even though it's trying to push, it's really starting to find resistance again at this area of that 93, 91 area. This is that area that's just been fighting with the bulls here. And so this is where they've got to get through that. The next area is going to be up here. Again, there's liquidity at that 96 area here. So again, you've got some resistance or you've got some supply up in this area. The demand area here, though, is not. You've got a clean shot down at these lower levels. So that's why I think it would first come down first, get demand, stop everybody out, and then push up. That's my view. So I know that was a long Cinco de Pedro, but it is there. All right, it's been a while since we've been on, so it's been fun.
So to summarize, though, let's give the quick summary here. By the end of the week, we're going to be down instead of up.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting. Yep. Because we saw Sunday come up, we saw Monday come up, and so that's why I'm more apt to sit there and be like, we're going to go down. And it makes sense from long-term perspective, because I would expect it to see them want to push it down first. You know, the first part of the quarter is what I'm expecting, right? Look at it from a 3-month perspective, right? That 3-month perspective, we're going to see it come down first, hit the stops, maybe, see it the first January, or January may see a red month, right? Yep. And then towards mid-February, we'll start to see consolidate. And by the end of, March, I expect to see it back at, that 100,000 area, maybe even at all-time highs, fingers crossed, right? And then from there, into next quarter, see it go down first, then go back up, right? And that's how it works. So, and the reason why I look at these things is because I look at the CME contracts and how they play with Bitcoin. And so that's why I look at these this way. Because remember, institutions very much play the spot, but also play the futures as well. So that's how you want to sit there and gauge what you'll be looking. And their stuff is ran every 3 months. So
right,
that's why. All right, guys, that's it. Sorry, I will. What is it?
No, we can talk about this forever. It was where we haven't discussed in a while. Thankfully, maybe not thankfully, but thankfully, Bitcoin hasn't been moving that much while we've been on hiatus. As I like to say, and you like to remind everybody, that it's been essentially trading in the idiot box. It's like your little supply wicks on the charts show that it gets up to 94,000, but then just for a few seconds to take everyone's stop. It's been doing that for a while now, and it just can't get above it. And you think, oh my gosh, it's been so long, it's just stagnant. And then when you show us the zoom out chart a little bit, this is a period very similar to many others before it. In fact, the last time it consolidated like this, one day, just towards the unknown end of the consolidation, all of a sudden it just went boop up, way past the edge of the idiot box, and went up towards its highs. So these areas of consolidation, they always mean watch out. Watch out, something's going to happen. Something's going to happen on the upsides in one time frame. Something's going to happen on the downside at another time frame.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
And remember,
we're just waiting here endlessly, growing old for it. Just come on. And because Pedro, this is the year as I talk about in the trading aspect of it, I am getting back into it now, and plotting my return, getting ready, analyzing, and I was supposed to spend like all of last week, being full on that, but I spent all of last week on a couch, just doing nothing. So I'm a week behind, but so what? Nothing happened. I didn't miss anything. There's always a new trade tomorrow. And even though we've been complaining about it consolidating for a while, we know, just as you can look at the entire history of this chart or any chart, eventually the consolidation period ends, and all is good.
What I think was also important to understand is that the market does three things. It goes up, it goes sideways, and it goes down. It will typically move up about 20% of the time. It will typically move down about 20% of the time, and about 60% of the time it goes sideways. Okay, so it's important to understand that the vast majority of the market is a sideways market. Now, within crypto, because it's been so volatile over the years, we're just used to huge volatility where it goes from 20,000 to 70,000, and then goes from 70,000 all the way to 20,000, consolidates, where that consolidation period is literally from 20,000 to 40,000, 50,000. So you're talking double movements, 100% movements from its lows to highs. And so now we're seeing percentage movements, not X movements. And so those percentage movements, the traditional markets typically move 1% to 2% on a daily basis. That's why I look at the ATR many times, right? Because I want to see how the market most likely is going to move from a percentage level. If I start to see it expand on a higher level, then I know that it's most likely is going to want to break out if I see increasing volume. So, oh no, let me just take off the red. I'm sorry. I have the red right there, bro.
I just see what I could do. Ooh.
Yeah. Boom.
No, Pedro Damas. Woo.
What do I do with these? I don't know what to do with this. What do I do with this? But it's important to understand the metrics of the market. Give me another 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes of the red light. I just needed to pop it off.
That's all right. Nobody's watching anyway.
Yeah, we do. We got 30 people watching us.
What
are you seeing? You don't see it?
Oh, look at that. We do have a whole bunch of people watching us.
Yes.
Welcome, everybody. Yeah. Welcome to the show. Sorry for my malaise there, but...
It's okay. It's all right. But honestly, if you guys haven't gotten some stuff on red light therapy, y'all need to mess with spirulina, methylene blue. I mean, this is not funny, or this is not, I'm not a doctor, but I've seen major improvements in my own cellular health. Plus, it's the protein from spirulina is off the charts. So if you're an older individual in your late 40s, early 50s, not older, but mid-age, then you need more protein. You do. And so it's really, really good for you. Anyhow, so one of the things I'm looking at now is literally these honestly, the large scale movement right now, like looking at, okay, all right, how much is this going to push, right? Are they going to let this run like a traditional crypto market or, this year, or are they going to go through and let this only get 12 to 15, 30% increase, which is still on a traditional standpoint, phenomenal, right? But on the future side, it is a juggernaut. If a market moves 30%, well, on the future side for the CME, we're talking that's 3,000%. That's, right. When it's the 50x, right? Like of the movement of the spot market, you're talking big numbers. So it's going to be really interesting to see how they really start to come in. And with the new legislation coming out, where they've got to disclose their holdings and what they're doing now, it's another thing why we saw Monero go up, right? In addition to all the other good news that they've been having. So real interesting.
Welcome, Kaching, to the show. Kaching, your home state of Minnesota, providing us no end of news that is, every time you turn the television on, you're like, what the F is going on in that state? What is wrong with the people, A, that are there, that run the state, that visit the state? Turns out a bunch of those people, including the unfortunate lady we're not going to talk about, that got unalived, she wasn't even from there. They drove 350 miles to, come on, big boy, let's take me on. And it's like a magnet of assholes. And it's like, what is going on in this state? It's north. Minneapolis is in the southern part of the state, but still, it's not a place that you would say somewhere else in the world and go to and say, let's go to Minneapolis. Let's go to Minnesota. That's like saying, let's go to northern Wisconsin. Why? Well, I don't know, because it's there. It just doesn't make any sense. Just no end of it, and it's ka-ching. It's gonna be. Pedro and I should do a whole just regular Rumble show in which we probably have 50,000 people watching us.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, it's just not even the crypto show. We'll just do a Pedro and Tom. What? Just WTF? What the F? Yes, they did. They moved to Canada. They abandoned the U.S. because Trump won. And then it turned out they got to Canada and they're like, oh, we got to wait a year for a doctor? Wait, what? I thought this shit was free and easy. No. Comments from Mrs. Striking in the background here. Let me entertain you.
Oh, that's good. Go ahead. No, I think you're nailing the point. Is that there's a lot of things that are unsaid that are very, very interesting. That's a good way of putting it, right? There's a lot of interesting things that are there, and you're like, why were they there? What is actually happening? And then, in additionally to that, though, but the fact that she did lose her life, no matter what, like, yes, I feel
not right at all. Not right.
Yeah.
Shouldn't happen under there's no scenario in any alternate universe in which that result should have happened.
Yeah.
Or would ever happen again.
Right. But the sad part behind all of this is just the fact that why, like, it was just wrong on both ends, right? Like, why did she decide she thought she could drive? You have federal, and honestly, Tom Bilyeu really did a great job giving both ends of the perspective. If you haven't seen the show, Impact Theory on X and YouTube, go check them out. They're phenomenal. But one of the things that he was saying is simply like on both ends, both people did wrong. I mean, when you talk about the actual cop himself or the ICE, the week prior, he was actually dragged by similar circumstance by somebody ramming into him, and they drug him and his arm. He hurt his arm. So on his end, he's got PTSD, right? Then on her end, she's, no mother should ever. I don't think a mother should risk her life. Why are you going to risk your life? You got kids. You have kids to take care of. The ICE himself, come on, man. Why didn't you take a break? I mean, you literally were just drugged for a week or, at least a week or two. Get your brain relaxed, like get yourself reset again, then go back to work. You know what I'm saying? This is a high intensity situation. Why are you putting it's just so many things. And I like Tom's view. He went into in depth on both ends, and I was like,
but one of the ways to think about these things, and I take this is one of the things that in which I listen to what Elon says, because he distills things down to the most fundamental problem. For whatever situation you look at, what's the most fundamental problem here? And if you can fix that, then you have another fundamental problem. You just start at the lowest thing. The most fundamental problem here is what would, with that person that got unalived, why would someone say, hey, honey, what do you want to do this weekend? Yeah. Let's drive for an entire day and go somewhere and interfere with law enforcement and put our lives at risk. Okay, there's a mental health issue going on here. The most basic thing on their end, on the unalived part, is that there's a mental health issue going on. And we're not getting anywhere if we ignore that. Because people that have mental health issues, this lady did, because she had her children taken away from her by a court. She had all sorts of issues. I'm not going to judge her. It's just mental health is mental health issues. And when people don't get mental health, they fall into, many of them fall into homelessness. Many of them fall into identifying with fringe groups because they get some sort of dopamine feedback from that. And this particular lady got sucked in by the other one that wanted to challenge the big boys. Come on, big boy, I'll take you on. That guy, the ICE agent, would have punched her in the face so hard and sent her into next week if he wanted to take her on. But the fundamental problem is that we still have half these topics we bring up, Pedro. The fundamental problem is mental health. And all of these shit for brains that are out there saying, yeah, this makes me feel good. You don't do something unless it makes you feel good. In some way or another, you get some reward, system or money or something. Something is amiss. And I don't know what causes these people to have these types of mental health issues, but we can't ignore it. We can't ignore it because this shit happens. And then you go to Twitter and you find the real mental health people and you're like, whoa, these guys are really whacked. But anyway, Crypto Mike in the house. Crypto Mike, the craziness is only a few hundred kilometers away from you to the south.
Literally.
Kaching says, these folks are welcome to come and try to deter ICE in rural Minnesota where I am. We're rocks and cow people.
Well, let's also add, look, I'm not, call me a bleeding heart. I still can't get over the fact, like my heart breaks for her kids. My heart breaks for the people that loved her. And, and there's somebody that's missing. And listen, I do not negate what she did, right? Like, I don't disagree that it was wrong. But I feel like, and this is Drew's perspective, and I think this is on the Bailu show, it's like, if you sign up to be an ICE representative and you want to go out there and you want to bring illegals, in, you've got to be able to be ready to really, ask questions first and step out of the way. Like the law is that you let that car go. You don't sit there and try to, if anything, he could have stepped back, shot the tires, and been at. You know what I'm saying? He could have gone left a couple times. There's a few people there. He's trained to handle these circumstances differently. And the law shows you don't use brutal force unless, now I understand that the administration is going to most likely back him and they're going to, really make sure
as soon as that body cam came out showing him getting hit.
Yeah.
There's nothing you can argue. There's 70 years of court precedent saying that cars are deadly weapons, and whether there's nothing. There's no way the guy's getting convicted of anything. If anything, the other girl, the wife, is going to be convicted of telling her to drive, and the government will say she's telling them to run the agents over.
Yeah. It still breaks my heart. That's all I'm saying. And the fact is that there are kids who don't have a mother anymore.
Right. And Kaching, you're right, not to beat on the dead person, but that's exactly her problem, is why she had her kids taken away. And it goes to my point. There's a mental health crisis that we're not addressing, and it's allowing people, because in the past, mental health issues weren't that bad because people will just sit in their room because they didn't have any outlet. Now they have the internet. They can say, "Oh, my people need me because I can identify with the people being put down. So I better drive 350 miles an hour and block police officers and impede them and protest." And so they can get their instant feedback and say, "Yes, this is good." Didn't have these problems 20 years ago or 25 years ago, because there was no internet communities. There was nobody on Twitter, no Russian bots or anything like that egging people on and reinforcing that they're right. The way algorithms are curated now, and once you start watching one topic or another, I fault the social media companies vastly for focusing algorithms so tightly on people, because when you get into it, like you accidentally click one video and you're like, "Ooh, that wasn't the one I want," and then all of a sudden your whole feed's all jacked up for 3 days and you're like, "Oh, damn it."
Yeah.
Imagine if you intentionally watch like 3 hours and doom scroll for videos on a certain topic. I mean, they send you every whack job effing video you can believe, and you're stuck in that feed. And so suddenly if you have a mental health crisis, that algorithm, it just punishes you. Just bam, 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 bam. And I fault the social media companies in that. They should not allow their algorithms to do that. Say, oh, we can get 1% more viewage, 1% more of this kind of stuff. All that's crap. People are going to watch YouTube. Doesn't matter if they feed you more of the same videos or pick new topics. When you're bored and doom scrolling, you just do whatever.
It was really weird talking about that. I accidentally hit I was looking for something, and for whatever reason, I didn't know that something was of sexual nature. It was just like, it was a position. I didn't know it, but I was looking for like a cellular thing, and I wanted to know about it. And so, you quickly type something into like the YouTube algorithm or the YouTube search, and it gives you a bunch of things. So I just quickly hit like, boom, like, arrow down, hit return. And all of a sudden, it was talking about I think it was a sexual position. And I was just like, what? Like, all these things started coming on. And so I was like, what? Like, what? What does that have to do? And I'm thinking, maybe there's a cellular thing that's going to be connected to it that I don't know about it. So in my head, I'm thinking this. And, maybe like sex enhances this thing. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, so I go through a couple videos of it. And I'm like, nah. So I looked at my search. And I was like, oh, my search is off, right? Like the whole entire thing. And so then I jump back and hit it, bro. For like 2 weeks, I was getting these freaking like these ads, and I was like, so like part of me was glad that we weren't on the air, because part of me was afraid that you would see these weird ads. So I had to be like, do not send me this stuff. This is inappropriate. This is, but it went on for like almost like a week. It was like a week and a half. And I was just like, this is a pain. Holy crap. Like you said, one wrong thing and you just, it's a bad day.
Kaching says, what people need to understand is every one of these agents has 100% intention of going home and seeing their families no matter what, and they should, damn it. And you are correct. You're correct. We don't pay our law enforcement people to not go home to their families. We pay them to go home to their families and make sure that all of the rest of us help us go to home to our families as well. I went at it with this one person on X. They say, yeah, but she's a taxpayer, so that guy works for her. And it's like, no, that's not how this works. There's no federal employee, no municipal employee, no state employee that works for a single taxpayer. Not any of them. Oh, maybe the governor or something like that. They work for the agency, which is funded and employs them, and that employs them, and that agency is funded by Congress. They don't work for taxpayers. They work for their agency, who's a creature of the U.S. Congress. And people can get that out of their head. You work for me. Okay, can I have another day of vacation? I need a raise. I'm going to call you at 6 a.m. and say I'm going to be late. It's not how this works. These people justify what shit. You can't go and block law enforcement. You can't do it. You can't. Protesting isn't going and screaming it in police faces and spitting on them and blocking them and harassing them. And also, essentially they could charge every one of these people with aiding and abetting criminals. If a lot of these guys were charged or on trial or whatever, you can't do that. Protesting is standing on the sidewalk peacefully saying, hey, we resist. And there was a good video by this guy by the name of Scott, not DeLuca, but Scott. He's a Manhattan-based artist, and he's essentially a professional protester too. He protests everything that's wrong in New York City. He's like, do I have any marks on my head? Do I have any teeth missing? Have I ever been tased or tear gassed or anything like that? He's like, no. Why? Because when the police say, put your hands behind your back, I said, okay, boss, put the hands behind your back. He said, I've been arrested dozens of times. He said, because I've complied, I've never been charged, but I always come out to protest again tomorrow. And he's conservative too. He's like, and he used some very rough language. This guy, his video, he says, you liberal Democrat douchebags. He said, you're telling people to go fight law enforcement? Who's going to win there? He said, first, nobody's going to win, but for sure you're going to lose. And he said, just do it the right way. He said, don't spit on people and don't get your fattest friends you could find and have them all fall into the police officers and have their clothes fall off. And he said, that's not how this works. Not at all how this works. Welcome, Sucker Free City. Jesus to the house.
What's up, brother?
Happy New Year's, Chad. Thanks for joining us. Really appreciate it.
What's up, brother? It is good to have you.
Yes, one guy's throwing bologna at him. I'll show those guys. Throw slices of bologna at you.
It is. I don't think the founding fathers, when they, well, maybe, I don't know, man. I mean,
yes, ka-ching. It's Scotty from New York. Yeah, that guy's great.
But jumping back here real quick. Speaking of breaking the law and being stupid and people trying to circumvent things, let's talk about Monero.
All right, let's quickly. Sucker Free City says, I'm sorry, but the cops run up to me like that. I turn my car off and throw the keys out the window. Here are my hands. I'm good.
Oh, dude, that is.
Yep.
Oh, that's awesome. That is awesome. Oh man, you know what? Like, the best thing is get on your face, put your hands above you. Don't, because there's the thing, they all carry, and you know, as soon as you get pulled over and something happens, like everybody who's walking down the street, what are the first thing they're gonna do? They're gonna pull their phone out, right? And so you know you're covered. Like, you know, right. You're covered.
Exactly. You don't have to. 10 people are gonna record it.
Yeah, because one, they want to become viral, make that viral money, right? So if they can, if their video goes viral, you know, their Facebook page starts to make cash, and so you know people share, and so you don't got to worry about that. You're going to be covered. People are going to cover you, but also on the back end, like, do you really want a bruised rib? Do you really want to fight these guys? Like, just like,
I really want a tooth missing. This one's getting a little sore. If I could have a cop knock it out, maybe I could get some money and.
Yeah. You know what's even cooler though? I mean, at least where I'm at, they're really retiring a lot of the older guys, just straight up. They are, and you have a lot of these young guys, and they're actually pretty cool. Like, I was talking to one guy, you know, I pulled up, and there was like an accident or whatever, and I was like, everything all right? And he's just like, yeah, somebody was being an idiot, he was smoking weed, and basically, you know, like, and he hit somebody, he wasn't paying attention, and I was like, oh, that's stupid, and so he's like, yeah, he's going to jail. I was like, were they resisting? He goes, nah, they were cool. He even admits it, like he was an idiot, because you could smell it all over his car. Like, it wasn't like, you know, like you can smoke weed where I'm at, but you just can't smoke and drive. Like, you can drink in a bar, in your house, you know what I'm saying? Be smart about it. But it's the same idea, right? It's like weed. And, but it was filled, dude. I would probably say out of like all the cops that were there, maybe there was one older guy in his late 40s. Everybody else was just these young kids, and I feel like the younger kids that are the police officers, they're much more reasonable, you know, compared to the older people. So it's gonna be really interesting to see what happens as we start to really, you know.
Can just see Jesus there, and he's got no plates on the car because he's got the little piece, because he's a used car dealer, so he's got the tag in the window, or or a janky dealer tag hanging off in a rubber temporary thing, and the cops are like, oh man, that car's got too much tint, it's got a janky plate on it, and dude, looks like a brown skin there, better hook him up.
He's a brown skinner.
Jesus, I gotta tell you though, I stopped speeding or driving really fast a long time ago, and I just drive regular on cruise control on all these drives I do. Don't get pulled over much. I got pulled over once with Mrs. Striking, I don't know, 10 years ago, 9 years ago or something. And another time before that was probably 15 years ago. And then I taught this trick to my son too. And I said, if you're ever out at night or when it's dark and you get pulled over, turn your interior lights on, put your back window down too, So the cop can see he had an SUV, and so the cop can walk up and see everything. And the cop will be so impressed, he'll just give you a warning. And sure enough, every time that worked for him, it worked for me too. Same thing. Just like you see cops, last thing you want is to put them on edge. And if you can make them even happier and say, oh, this dude's smart, wants to make sure I go home to my family.
Wait, what is it? What do? You just turn off the car, put your keys.
Yeah, if I pulled over, and it's literally been 9 or 10 years, knock on wood, I turn all the interior lights on, so police and put the window down. And if there's a police officer, if it's like Chicago, they have 2, so they come up the other side. You put both sides of windows down, so that they can see in. And then if they can see in, and you're volunteering that way, they know you're not be like banger trying to hide stuff because they're like, oh. And that's not the thing where you're like, just comply because if you've got nothing to hide. It's I was speeding and I want to get out of this. That's what it is. It's not that just I'm complying with the man type stuff. I had people tell me, oh, you're just bootlicking. I was like, no, I was going to get a $195 ticket and points on my license. Instead, I got a have a nice day. Thanks for the safety. Okay, officer. See you later. Also, I'm white too, so it helped.
White privilege, pretty privilege, man.
I've gotten plenty of tickets in my life from officers of all colors. In fact, this Ohio State state trooper, who I am certain came right off being a lineman for the Ohio State football team, and went into being a trooper, pulled me over in Zanesville, Ohio once when I was driving to New Jersey. The guy was bigger than if a semi-truck hit him, the semi-truck would just fall over and just like hitting Superman. He scared the shit out of me. I was like 17. I was like, I don't ever speed again. And he was dark. He blotted out the sun from his stature and his color. He was so dark. He was the nicest guy, but I scared the shit out of him. I won't ever.
That's funny. I think what's also interesting, is I don't know. There isn't enough training for people how to interact with the law.
There's not.
Yeah,
there's not at all.
Yeah. Speaking of the law, and
I wouldn't do that if I was you. How not to get your ass kicked by the police.
There's a lot of comedians that talk about it. So wait, let's talk about Monero. And
all right, ladies and gentlemen, we're switching the show. We got to talk about Monero here. It's booming, and Pedro and I have been avoiding it, trying to get to it, but the commentary has been too good. Monero, Pedro, what is going on with XMR?
XMR has actually hit our target point to a T. It literally came up to our area that we were talking about. So when we originally talked about this, we talked about it in 2 areas. One was the 170 area, right? It exploded back in December of 2024. We talked about it coming back down to that 169 area. It shot all the way up to like 230. I said, don't buy it up there.
What time frame is that you're talking about right now?
This is the daily chart here.
No, I mean, you're pointing at what date frame?
Yeah, so when it exploded, it was ranging up at the December 2024. And so this is the area that we saw the explosion happen on the 3rd. I said, don't buy it up here. We want to wait for the pullback, which was sitting around that 173 area. And I actually went on to the crypto show, or the crypto breakfast show, Zach Humphreys, and I simply just said, hey guys, don't buy it up there, wait for the pullback. And it's going to pull back a couple times here down at that 170 area, and then wait for it to continue up. And I said, my real target that I'm looking for is roughly around 600 area. The 600 area, I think we'll easily see a 3x. And so because of just some metrics that I was looking at, this is what our area here is. And you can see it literally popped and went all the way up into the area, and it's now looking like it might even continue potentially into these higher levels. Now, what's so interesting behind is you actually have a few factors that are causing this huge jump in price, almost 30%, 40% here, which has been crazy. One being that you have literally a lot of new legislation that are coming out where people actually have to go through and literally disclose their crypto holdings. And so there's new laws that are out there. And so one of the ways you can actually get around that and circumvent it is literally Monero. Now, Monero no longer really has...
Hold on here. You cannot circumvent those laws. If you're a U.S. citizen, you cannot circumvent the laws. Please pay all your taxes and follow the rules.
Mm-hmm.
However, for you people that live outside the law, otherwise known as Minnesotans,
we keep going back to this. I'm trying.
Is there a place? We won't say Minnesotans. That Kaching was correct. We'll say Minneapolisans.
Here, let's narrow it down.
Right. Where the bleeding heart liberals live in Minneapolis and St. Paul.
And so one of the things that's really interesting here is you can see that it wants to move higher. Now, its competitor, which is Zcash, just up and left. You know, you had Zcash, you have Monero, you have a few other ones, but Monero is really the one that everybody looks at. And I mean, the reality is that this thing is a juggernaut. Now it is, I mean, all the money that was running Zcash is now being transferred out and being brought into Monero. Also with the new legislation. So this is almost like a perfect storm of for them. It's that perfect mixture of legislation. Your competitors decided to give up the ghost. And now they are sitting pretty. So it's going to be really interesting. Hopefully they don't screw this up. So, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, I expect maybe to see another couple of day run up. We could see it get up to like that 700, 800 mark, potentially, and then see it pull back. But even then, if they pull back to $400 or $500, I mean, there is nobody out there. There's no other like major coin that's sitting here, that's sitting like this. You know, like it's just, it's a beautiful thing, because if there is a coin I want to see just get adopted, it's Monero. Like when everybody knows I'm a huge proponent on self-custody. I'm a huge proponent on the ability to be able to be self-sufficient, you know, and in regards to the crypto industry, Monero is set up that way, to be able to just be able to interact with people with true freedom, you know, from a financial standpoint, you know. So I like what they're doing. I hope they don't mess this up. I hope the CIA doesn't come in and destroy their, you know, get people.
Darn CIA. CIA, they just get a bad rap. They just trying to be nice guys forever and stuff. It's not like they went around the world whooping and beating everybody.
Maybe not, but you know, if they say, "Hey, Iran, you know, this would be a good time for you to, you know, all you college kids, let's get together and start to, I don't know, might be a good time to, you know, overthrow your country, or hey, I know you're close friends with this guy named Maduro. He's like your boss and stuff, but isn't he kind of a jerk? Yeah. Hey, let's look the other way. Here's a little bit of money as well. By the way, when is people around? When is he really alone? Oh, around this time? Thanks. Appreciate that. Oh, here's a little bit more money. You know, like, you know, so there's a lot of cool things. And then there's a huge thing going on, talking about not Monero, but talking about the idea of I just messed it up. Talking about what's actually happening with the economy over there. They're either going to explode, right? Because we're going to see American industry really pick up, or it's going to falter. I've heard 3 or 2 primary ideas about what is potentially taking place in why am I saying El Salvador? My brain just said no, not El Salvador. Where Maduro, he is in. Come on, Braden, you can do.
In New York?
No. What was the country that he was running?
Venezuela.
Holy moly, it was so hard for me to remember. And for whatever reason, my brain was just like, no, dude, I'm gonna make you look like an idiot. But what I'm saying though is this: is that you have one idea where literally they have a lot of unrefined, just slush of oil, and it's still got to be refined. There's a lot of things that need to be taken care of before we even see this up flourishing. And you hear a lot of this in liberal circles, and then many of the right-wing conservative circles, you hear a lot of people saying, no, man, this is ready. We could go in and get this up and running. So it's interesting to hear on both ends that you hear one or the other. And so I feel like with that being said, I think we're going to really see a big push in Venezuela, because if from a price standpoint, America is on the cheap, could go in, develop, push things up, get things going what they need to. It's already in place. And there's this part of me that's almost seeing like how things are going to affect. I mean, especially with what we saw with the embargoed ship and how they were leaving and how Russia, again, bowed the knee. Right? Like they just basically bent over and like, okay, cool. Well, all right. You're going to take our ship. Right. So there's like all these other little things that we're watching that it's almost being set up as America dominance is being reestablished in the world, saying FOFA. Right. Like, and so it's really interesting to see. And so now you're like, Pedro, but what does that have to do with Monero? Thank you. Let's go back to Monero. Monero is kind of potentially a area where, it kind of spits. It doesn't spit in the face of America and the U.S. dollar, but if people start to circumvent certain aspects of not paying the U.S., i.e., let's say we want to do taxation on so and so, and they were like, oh, well, we got paid in this, in this cryptocurrency. I could see that potentially we could see a big push against Monero. So, and because America
already starting Dubai, Dubai Investment District, Financial Investment, whatever, the DIFC. Excuse me. Once again, officially bans Monero, Zcash, and USDCE. The USDC's new privacy-focused version of its stablecoin, saying that there's no room in the UAE for privacy. And I can see the government, because they have lots of problems with trying to keep the Russian money at bay there, and they like to take it under the table so no one can, via real estate. So, but if you're going to try and operate without chain analysis or the UAE version of that, going through your entire wallet, forget it. They're saying you can't bring those things. And we know anytime a market says forget it to something that everybody wants, they just leave the market. They're just like, screw you. You can't tell me what to do. And these people are used to saying, yes, we can tell you what to do. But you know what? Crypto isn't one of those things you can only do around the block from your corner. You can do it anywhere in the world. And so the U.S. is moving along the lines of but integrating privacy, zero knowledge type things into about everything. Pedro is a good example. I had other day before I got sick, over at the grocery store, and I bought a 6-pack of Budweiser. And the grocery store here says we card everybody no matter what. And I've gone over there, I could pay with my phone, and I've forgotten my wallet, so I didn't have my license with me, and they wouldn't sell me beer. I'm like, dude, I can't see it so much on the show, but I'm not 21. I'm over 21. It's plainly obvious to everyone that meets me. But the store's policy is it's a Kroger brand store, and they said, no, we have to card everybody, and they wouldn't sell it to me. And I was like, get the store manager. And I said, because I really wanted a Budweiser. I literally walked across the street to the liquor store and they sold it to me. But I said, what's the deal here? And he's like, oh, it's our corporate policy. I said, it's not, because I shop at other Kroger's, Harris Teeter's, Mariano's. They're all Kroger brand, and they don't do that. Oh, well, they should be. I said, you're the only store that does it. And he's like, well, they're just being lazy then, because that's actually the corporate thing. And I got to thinking about it. I said, okay, let's do a test. I'm not going to let you scan my license in, because they take your license and put it on the machine and scan it. And I said, what do you think it's doing when you scan the license in? And they're like, well, it's checking maybe it's official. I said, no, it's capturing my data. So it's capturing my data. And I said, you guys have a policy that says we're going to capture all of our customers' complete data, their driver's license. Every time they come to the store, they get my driver's license info. Just because they have to get people with 21. And I said, now, how about we integrate zero knowledge things into our driver's licenses? On that code on the back, just says I'm 21. And they don't need to know my name, they don't need to know my address, they don't need to know anything else. It just boop, it beeps, means I'm 21, zero knowledge. That's what we're doing here in crypto here. And it's gonna be a great thing. Does Tom have the credit to buy this car with crypto? Boop, yes he does. It doesn't say, here's his social security number, here's where he lives, here's his house value, here's this, here's his full credit report. It just says, boop, yes, that's satisfied. And then the other AI on the other end takes that, because it's a trusted zero knowledge proof that that's good. And that's what needs to happen. But, sorry, UAE said, nope, no zero knowledge. It's the other way. They have to have all knowledge.
This is where I think America is where I think this is where we're going to shine. Whereas as the world really starts to clamp down, I mean, seeing what's happening in the UK, in Europe, seeing what we're seeing right now, especially around the world, America, I feel like, is really going to be one of the only places that you'll have some semblance of kind of freedom, because the heavy hand of, Uncle Sam, even though it's heavy around the world, to its citizens, it's fairly okay. Like look at what's happening in the Middle East right now with overthrowing, the great leader, or supreme leader over there. It's really like they shut off the internet and they're going there and they're just mowing people down now. Absolutely. I mean, it's interesting to see what Trump is going to do regarding that, but it's like that doesn't happen in America, at least anymore. I mean, there have been times where we have been very open, but now with what's happening, I mean, we have the internet. It's just the U.S. government can't get away with that anymore. It's just not. Us as a people, we will not tolerate that, and they know that. And so it's really interesting now to see if we start to see a unit where, not a unit, a group of people who really step in and simply say, look, this is what we want. If you don't do it, then we're just not going to be part of it, and we will garner. And I think that's where the Dems and the Republicans, once they truly understand what crypto holds and what it's doing for people, they'll sit there and be like, holy crap, this is a way, this is a secondary system. So I feel like that's sooner or later going to happen. We're going to see more Moneros. We're going to see things with zero knowledge information that will propagate around the world. But it's going to frustrate a lot of the corporate entities, and you best believe there's going to be a lot of the people who go and fund, or they lobbyists. You'll see a lot of lobbyists against it, but I think ultimately we'll see that really hit hard here in America. Well, sooner or later, it'll take hold. It may take 5-10 years, but ultimately the people, once they understand what zero knowledge is, it's going to be good. Speaking of that, I also want to bring up what's also happening in not just America. What was it? Iran. That's interesting. I want to know your
shit show. There's a bunch of shit shows. Go ahead. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, okay. I want to know, because you've been to Iran. You've interacted with Iran.
I've never been to Iran. No.
Really?
I'm an American. I am not allowed to go to Iran.
Oh, forgive. Yes. Have you ever interacted with them though? Like, have you ever?
Yes.
All right. What are they like? I mean, this administration there, or this regime, not even administration, but this regime over there. How do you see this happening? Do you think that they're going to get overthrown, or do you feel like they're going to actually just start killing people like by the
they'll kill people and they don't care. The reason is because the country has turned into the haves and the have-nots, and the people in power are the haves, and the people out of power are the have-nots, and it's a 1%, 99% thing. 1% of the people are in power; they keep tabs on everybody else, and the people that toe the theologian line, they get the nice apartments, they get the nice jobs, they get this. They have to, the intelligence service is ruthless, not internationally anymore, but within its own place. You step out of line. They don't just come around like when you're getting a little crazy and just start whacking people. All of a sudden, your dad's job goes away. You're like, well, wait a minute. Why is dad's jobless? Well, Sonny is out on the streets protesting. Where's our daughter? Oh, well, she's in a re-education camp also. She's away at school, as they say. All of a sudden, dad shuts his mouth. Son's not protesting anymore. Dad's job comes back. There's a lot of that going on. People hate them. They hate them. They hate that they have a parliamentary style government, but they allowed these crazy people 50 years ago to take over, and they still have a grip on the country. And one of my good friends a while ago was an Irish diplomat there. He lived there, and he was the Irish consul general. And when he lived in I met him in Chicago, and I said, "What was it like there?" He said, "It was awful. It was just awful." He said, because the whole place still runs on bootleg gasoline and stuff, so it's dirty, and people make it in their backyards and stuff, and the generators run all the time because of power. The whole place is terrible because the government has chosen to keep all the money for themselves, and they don't care. They don't care that everybody's poor and living poorly and under their education level. And when that happens, Pedro, eventually people fight back. But because the government these guys get to keep all the money, they're church guys, but yet they're living large. They import all sorts of luxury vehicles on the side. I mean, if your Bentley went stolen, it's either in Nigeria or Tehran. And when they break in Tehran, they don't just throw them away, and then they order one stolen from the U.S. and it ends up in Tehran again, because these wealthy guys over there can do that type of stuff. They keep everyone else in the dark, literally in the dark. They don't have enough power. People get pissed, and they're rightly so. And the problem is everyone lumps most of the Iranians in with the Arabs and Islamic Arabs, and they're not. They're Persians. They speak Farsi. They don't even speak Arabic. And their theologians are all just crazy people that wanted to get in on that early Arab Spring back in the 1970s. And then they got the taste of power and were like, oh, ooh, this is good. This is good. We get all the money too, and we can have all our 72 virgins without dying. Oh, and we can have them every day. Oh, so they don't give up the power. And they did it the Scarface way. First they got the power, then they got the money, then they got the women type thing. But they are the regular, Persians of Iran are great people. They're smart. They're intuitive. When that country does finally get a real government, Iran will become a powerhouse manufacturing center due to location and natural resources, and everyone there knows it. And when that happens, the government, as soon as there needs to be more of a fire there. And really, we just need the Delta Force to go in and take out about 40 people in the Iranian government, and the people will fix it themselves. I mean, they have a functioning parliament, they have functioning bureaucracy, they have a government that will work. They just have people that run the top of it and allow the whole religious thing to get in the way of it. And they need to sweep that aside. We'll talk about the UAE again. They have a religious-based lifestyle. There's an Islamic-based country. They've chosen to say, hey, we understand that this is our life and the way we operate is under our religion. But that's not how government should run. Government needs to build roads, keep the water running, make sure this and the trash is picked up, this kind of stuff. They've realized that it's good to keep those things separate because functioning bureaucracy that runs a city runs on routine, runs on consistency, runs on this type of stuff, not at the whim of what the religious law for the day might be. And Pedro, we saw this happen in Egypt. We saw it happen in Cairo when the Arab Spring happened there. The Muslim Brotherhood took over. They got rid of all the elites and this type of stuff and brought in all their own people to run the government. Country came to a halt. Cairo became a wasteland of junk. Building permits stopped being issued, so just wildcat speculation was being built. Everyone was dying. The people were building like 20-story buildings with no elevators and no fire system. And it was just whoosh. And it was awful. I went there. I was like, holy shit, this place is... I used to like coming to Cairo. Now it's awful. And they reached that tipping point. And they reached that tipping point when people came at them with guns and said, no, we're going to keep the religious theologian style of government. And people said, no, we need a real government that can run the city and run the country. And we'll do our religion the way we want separately from that. That's not saying that they rejected religion. They just said we like to live our life like that. And we don't like that to run the garbage in the sewage system in the city because it doesn't work. And right now in Iran, they're treating all the people like the garbage in the sewage. And unfortunately, hundreds of people have been dying. And they'll mow them down. They'll mow them down until the people stop. They just... Because they know, Iran knows nobody's coming. Nobody's coming. Is the U.S. going to invade Iran? No. I mean, we could do precision strikes and kill some people and say, we've had enough. But he did a good job with Venezuela. He's to now do that without the world, without NATO, without some legal authority or somebody asking. Maybe if they could get the president of Iran to say, hey, we need your help, the United States. Please come in and get rid of these goons that have controlled our country. Somebody asks you to come in their country, you can do it. But until that happens, they're going to kill all those poor people, and I feel sorry for every one of them.
Sad. And, go ahead.
Sorry, DeFi Dude says, I like your plan for Iran, but for Ireland.
Ireland.
That's another thing. What the fuck you guys doing to our country? What is wrong with the people over there in government? What is wrong with them? Say, let's bring in every crazy Syrian, let's bring them over to Dublin and live in a country where they have no idea what the culture is. That's insanity. And the war in Syria is over, send them back. You're a refugee? Well, the war's over, bye, go back. It drives me crazy.
We actually went in there over the weekend, or there were some bombings there that was done, which I thought was really interesting, especially with a lot of like guerrilla, a lot of warfare or how do you explain that? Like covert operations that are actually happening there. And so I was listening to this guy, I forget the guy's name, but he was talking about how there's potentially a lot of Delta Force in Syria going through, removing a lot of these old regime that is trying to come back in. And so watching that actually happen. And I mean, my question is this, is how far is Syria from Iran? From a U.S. state standpoint, like from California to Oregon, or do you know the distance there?
It's probably Syria. What's left of Syria went pretty far west, or went pretty far east, all the way from the Mediterranean. You got Iraq in the way. It's not that far. Maybe 800-900 miles or so. Let me look at that.
So, say Delta 4. That's still too far away. I was just thinking, like, if we needed to, because we've got a lot of stuff going on, if America needed to help Iran and its people, how far would we need to go? And 900, that's a 10-hour drive. So, and they just,
well, we used to have a lot of people in Iraq. Measure distance.
Yeah, really interesting. Now, jumping back here real quick to crypto, right now, because what we're seeing, do you think that America would actually help with paying people and getting people up and running? We've seen them do that with like Monero, other organizations. Buying machinery, buying ammo, buying guns, right? Do you think that's possible for them versus just throwing rocks?
Well, that's another problem with international law, my friend. To arm the populace without the populace requesting it legally, not just people getting out and saying, "Give us guns, give us guns." But if the government essentially has to say, "Come help us," and the recognized government is not going to do that. Could we do it surreptitiously? Sure, but we can overflight the country. This whole thing in Venezuela showed that there's no Russian air system. There's
nothing.
Nothing works. Nothing works. And I told people that for a long time. I'm like, we buy all these Russian systems through third parties, take them apart. We know exactly how they work. But anyway, we could definitely airdrop things to people, But the intelligence apparatus, basically anyone that is related, the inside family people are all in intelligence because they want to do is just root out the people trying to take their money away from them, their jobs. It's not like these younger, these 25-year-olds that are now in intelligence in Iran. They're not there because they've got revolutionary spirit. They're there because they need a job. And these jobs pay well because they're with the government. And the jobs that are not with the government do not pay well. But there's so many of those people. And, it's not like we could sneak into a city and they wouldn't know. That's what you get in a surveillance society. It's like trying to hide from a flock camera here in the U.S. Oh, my friends here. Let's see, You know what, Pedro? I'm going to read an ad here. Let's take a break here, reset the show,
quick,
and
before you, dude, we've hit like 15. We've stayed above 15. Our first day back, we've stayed above 15 viewers, which me and Tom were expecting. We might have maybe 5 people because of the algorithm. But dude, you guys have been supporting us so much. If you guys could hit the like button, man, really appreciate everyone. If you're new here and you just found us through the algorithm, we're a daily talk show. And we're going to go, our next thing, we're going to talk about Trump and Jerome Powell and how that affects crypto and what we're seeing. So if you like us and you like us over on Rumble, please hit that like button, hit that share button. We really would appreciate you tremendously. Let's go ahead and hit that up because I just saw we went up in viewers. I know that means we can actually ask for more money on our stuff.
Huge. Only the biggest money being made here. Huge. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's take one. Oop, wait, offer does not match billing. Hold on, got to redo it here.
I'll tell you about an offer you can't refuse.
All right. There we go. Ladies and gentlemen, they can freeze your accounts. They can lock you out of your own money. They can shut off your cards. Banks don't protect you. That's why real financial freedom starts with ownership. Introducing Rumble Wallet, a wallet built for people who refuse to give up control. With Rumble Wallet, you don't just buy digital currency like Bitcoin and Tether. You can own Tether Gold, real gold on the blockchain. Through Tether Gold, you get direct ownership of physical gold bars, each one fully allocated, verifiable by serial number, purity, and weight. This isn't paper gold. This is not an IOU. This is real gold without bank vaults, storage fees, or gatekeepers. You can buy, sell, or move it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, even when traditional gold markets are closed. And if you want, Tether Gold can be redeemed for physical gold. Now that's power. When you support creators on Rumble, you can tip them directly using Rumble Wallet. Peer-to-peer, secure, and outside the banking system. No permissions, no middlemen, no cancel button. This wallet is yours. Forever. Ladies and gentlemen, over here on the side of me, next to me over here, there is a QR code that says Rumble Wallet, empowering voices, enabling transactions. Wallet or rumble.com. Hold your cell phone up to that, click that QR code, boop, download the Rumble Wallet, and get started right away. If you're watching on your cell phone, there's a link in the chat. And if you're watching on the replay, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We really appreciate it. There's a link to this in the description. And what helps us out, right below me here, there's a tip jar. And that tip jar, instead of using Rumble Rants, which you get charged credit card fees, and Rumble takes a slice of it, they've now said, we want you guys to be independent on that. Whatever your audience donates, you keep it. You donate to us via this great Rumble Wallet here. We keep 100% of that. Thank you very much to everyone that's already done that. Chuck Jansen. So anyway, thanks to Rumble and Rumble Wallet for sponsoring this segment of DYOR Live. All right, my friend.
Latest news. It looks like did Jerome Powell step down? I'm trying to get here. Latest news.
Oh, I mean, I with them trying to say that Jerome Powell lied. I mean, the Fed's building a new, or renovating their headquarters or whatever, that type of stuff, which apparently hadn't been done since like 1972 or something like that, except for their awesome press room. And they tripped him up somehow when he was testifying about it. And now they're saying that he lied and they're going to charge him with a crime. And I got to tell you, it's just no use going in front of Congress anymore and testifying. It'd be just like, I'd be like Clemenza on not Clemenza, whichever the guy was in Godfather 2 when he's in the, they just wanted me to write some stuff there. So he is Godfather. I don't know, he's a Godfather. Yeah, he's a Godfather. I'm a Godfather. We're all Godfathers. Right.
That was such
just they just wanted me to write stuff about him. I'm getting old. I can't remember. I'll write it down for them. They give me a deal. That's how I would be. They're like, sir, this is not Godfather 2. You have to testify. Yeah, I ain't saying shit because you're going to try and twist and use my words against me and say it's a crime.
Yeah, they're almost in the same thing that we saw the Biden administration doing on Trump. So it's almost kind of sad because it's like, man, like they're playing the same game. And this is what I was afraid of, right? We talked about this. I said, you have the same type of movements that are going on. And hopefully Trump can just focus more on the economy. But the fact is, now this is the part that I think was really interesting. Okay. Now, what's happening with Jerome Powell? I think there's a lot of stuff outside of what Jerome Powell and him and the crew there are refusing to lower rates, which would help America in relationship. It fairly help America push and start creating new jobs potentially. Right? Like, again, potentially, because it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. He needs that to happen. Now, he's been pushing Jerome Powell and the group that goes and votes. America, for the first time, I mean, in a long time, is just straight up telling the Fed, hey, stop this. Like, you're hurting us. Drop the rates. And America, or the Fed, is kind of refusing to do so. And again, because they're supposed to be agnostic to government pull. But the reality is Trump is not looking at things in a way kind of like from his perspective with the tariff situation bringing in. So I found out what was actually happening with the tariffs. So there are two types of tariffs. There's one that is under his protection and what he can do. And then there is kind of the government tariff, and they go through. And so the one that they're actually fighting for is the government tariff. Trump does have his, what's the word I want to use? He has his own tariff that he can use. But ultimately, when you look at him, there is about 600 billion. The one that it was calculating was there. Like I said, there's two different types. And so us calculating it was calculating one versus the whole entire shebang. So there is about $600 billion worth of, which is a juggernaut of money. Like, we're talking, that's $500 billion. Remember, as a nation, we need to make up $2 trillion within our deficit. And so you're talking, that's 25%, and was on scale potentially to keep growing up to almost $1 trillion. So this is what I do not understand, what's actually happening with the Supreme Court and how they're actually trying to stop him from doing this, because it's actually helping America. So why are they fighting this? So these judges, I feel like, are purposely hurting America. We're already watching inflation go down, even, and I've been talking about this, an actual deflation versus an inflation, right? And so because of this, we're watching all these things happening, and it's, yes, it's going to drop America in the beginning, but in 6 months to a year, America very much could be back on top and moving forward. I was overhearing Chamath and why am I forgetting his name? The secretary you used to work for him, or your not you used to work for him, but your family. The guy who handles, he's the New Yorker. You following me, Tom?
The New Yorker?
Yeah, not the New Yorker. Why am I forgetting? The guy who handles like the international banking. Why am I? Your family used to work for him. You talked about how you knew him. We were on LinkedIn, and I was like, hey, bud, thanks for my buddy did
Howard
XYZ.
Lutnick.
Thank you, Lutnick. For whatever reason, bro, my brain is not remembering names today. I couldn't remember Monero and Venezuela, which is I've been reading about all week. But either way, Lutnick sat down with Chamath, and he was going over all the financing and everything that's actually correlated there. And he was talking about literally almost it could produce $1 trillion a year, which is 50% of what we need to make up of the deficit for the government. And this is huge. And from a financial standpoint, we're not seeing, I mean, companies are working within those tariffs. And so we're not seeing an increase within inflation. And then with a lot of the manipulation of numbers that are in the government, right, of the reporting, that stuff's starting to go away because they're publishing everything on the blockchain almost instantly. So it's one of those things that we're really starting to see Trump's plan starting to work. And so part of me is almost wondering, are these, I hate to say it, these judges, are they trying to hurt America? Like, we're not seeing huge inflation. If anything, we're starting to see deflation. Yes, we're seeing jobs lost, but in that same sense, those jobs lost are jobs that are just because of efficiency that are being moved along. So, I mean, they will find new jobs. There will be new industries being created here if Trump can actually pull this off. So, like I keep saying, he's got 3 months left, and he's pulling it. It looks like he's pulling it. Like, it's actually starting to work. So I keep saying that we will see first a crash and then a rebound like never before, if he can pull this off. Are these activist judges, which is now they're starting to call them activist judges, trying to hurt America? I feel like this is actually what's actually happening. And so,
Pedro, I wouldn't be surprised if you find that some of them were being paid by the Russians or Chinese. And people are like, that's crazy, Tom. Do you know how many British MPs have been caught taking money from the Russians? They just they had one or two resign in 2025 and have to sit there and admit, yes, I took money from the Russians. It's not out of the ordinary. Or it's not. I don't even have the right word for it. I can't think of the right word for it. It's entirely possible that that's the case, that they've identified some of them. And there's a lot of judges, kind of those weird progressive judges out there that are very, very odd people. And the Russians find out that, like, the one guy that had the Swedish penis enlarger under his desk. Remember that guy? And
wait, no, what?
Did you hear about that one?
No, I did not. Swedish penis enlarger. What is this?
Well, that's the Austin Powers name for it. But he had a device under his desk in which he was using during court. And eventually, apparently the unit started wearing out after a while, and the court reporter was like, "What the hell is that noise?" But meanwhile, it's not out of the ordinary for judges to have things in their background, just like at no different level than the population at large. And the Russians sort that shit out, and then they're like, "We know that you rule against the Trump administration every time, no matter what." Or these pictures of you with the Swedish penis enlarger and that giant 400-pound lady are going to be all over the internet. That's one of those things that we'll find out if anyone's actually paying attention.
Yeah.
Wait, people are looking at their desks. Jesus looks up. What did Tom just say? What? Hey, Jesus, you said you sent me something on a DM. I have no idea what platform you're talking about, and I don't see one from you.
All I know is that it's kind of cool that the Fed is now starting to find pressure against the U.S. government, and they have acted in a way whereas, that they lend us money. Trump is literally, we've talked about this multiple times, through the crypto stablecoin system, he's able to circumvent what the actual Fed is doing and their job. And so part of me is almost like, it's the first time where I think within 113 years that we could actually break away from the Fed system. This is a big deal, because now when we borrow money, it doesn't have usury from the Fed. And it's going to be really interesting to see if he can pull this off. Could America actually break free and get people to buy our treasuries, right, at lower rates, and be able to help certain things help us out, in essence, export our debt so that we could honestly keep the lifestyle that we have, which is basically pooping in clean water and washing our hands out of the faucet. Like, that's a big deal. So,
hey, sorry, Pedro. Hey, Sue, sorry, I meant Crypto Mike. I got you guys confused. Crypto Mike, yes, I did see your DMs.
Got it. So it's just real interesting to see what's actually happening here. Ultimately, I'm excited though about what we're seeing with just us kind of push back against the Fed. I think that's cool. I think it does put a little bit of a wrinkle in their in their plans many times here. So fingers crossed, we'll hopefully see some real pushback. We'll see them lower the rates if they do. It's not going to be a good thing, but it will be, in the long run, a good thing. We should see a huge sell-off with bonds, or a huge increase in bonds pricing as the rates come down, and actually see some big movements happening here. But ultimately, I think that that need for crypto stable coins around the world as crypto keeps expanding, as crypto keeps moving forward, seeing America kind of attach its. And here's the other part I think it's interesting is I think other governments are going to step in and say, hey, look, let us get part of this, right? And they'll go through and look at what America's doing and start to buy and create their own, in essence, a tether. And hopefully stay away from the CBDC system that is basically the same as the Fed coin, right? Like, it's just call it the Fed coin. And so, like, this is where, like, if we can see this, that just makes the rest of the world independent of Fed systems. And I think that's really what they're afraid of, is that if there can be an additional system to what the actual Fed has established by loaning out money, usury, and receiving that cash. So fingers crossed. If we can get America's system to work off of this, I think the rest of the world will want to adopt this system, and then in this, be able to figure out a way, like if I wanted, let's say, to buy some yield on the euro, I could sit there and go through and say, I want to get a euro USD or a euro stable coin, and from there get yield off of it, right? Like, and what happens is that again circumvents their Fed. The EOB, European. I forgot the Euro Central, the UCB. Sorry, the UCB. And so if that can actually happen, then we'll see. So we're kind of leading the way here, and in this, and fingers crossed. Imagine me.
Well, I hope they don't get rid of the Fed. I hope they shrink it to it's a much smaller. Like, do they need bazillions of offices and all this type of stuff and all these zillions of people now? As data becomes more publicly crunched now, they don't have to provide. As we move towards open data, they won't need the 1,000 PhD people that they have working for them or whatever. Lower their budget by a lot. But that being said, do I want the elected government being in charge of monetary policy? No. There needs to be a check and balance against that, and the Fed is a good check and balance against that. But they need to get their ass out of the markets, like I talked about before. Now they limit the liquidity in the market because they have dates on which they're going to announce stuff. So people keep money out of the markets. The markets are less efficient because the Fed has set a schedule to announce things. Some say, it's good that we know the time that this kind of stuff we can plan for it. Yes, they plan for it by taking money out of the market and de-risking, and that slows the economy down and puts false government barriers to things. They should say, okay, Fed, you need to rely on open source data, and as we move to blockchain data and that type of stuff, so get rid of your bureaucracy. We don't want you to have a bureaucracy. Thus, you will not need to earn lots of usury to pay for that and all that type of stuff. Just come up with the rate policy between the people from the regional banks, between other people we appoint to the committee, and you have terms that are not politically, your term is for 5 years. Doesn't matter who the president is. They can't ask for your reservation, or they can't fire you, unless like criminal stuff. And just when you see you need to change it, just change it. You don't need to come out and explain it for 4 hours. In fact, we'd rather you not to, because that also causes the market to go crazy. Just say, all right, the rate's at 4.25, and it's 4.35 now. And make it, instead of quarter points, make it hundredths of a point. Why do we have to go in quarter points? It could be updated every day. They could just change. It's 4.09% today. Well, yesterday it was 0.085. The market would never care again about short-term interest rate changes. They would care about the trend. But if they just switched it to that, the whole story about the Fed would go away.
Man, that is actually so true.
Get rid of their PR, get rid of their public face, get rid of all this shit. Just back behind the scenes, they can all sit there and have a cigar. We're controlling the world. But they're really not. They're just ensuring that people like Scott Bessert, who are as good at his job, don't listen to somebody like Mr. Trump, who just wants one thing to happen, and it ignores inflation and it ignores jobless rates and all this type of stuff. Just make it a non-entity. Just say, and in fact, you can get it. You'll be able to get it to the point so well where you won't even. AI will be able to subtly adjust the rates every day, or even hour by hour, minute by minute. It'll be the market will trade based on
literally based on crude oil. I mean, just like if you look at crude, if we have a huge push up in crude prices, what do you see? You see the actual market change. They change the market at the gas pump.
All I see is XMR on the screen. If you're trying to put something on the screen.
Give me 1 second because I'm actually looking at something real quick. Like this.
DeFi Dude says a central bank is a parasite, starve them. But DeFi Dude, I get it. You're astute in the ways of finance. How do you prevent the government from making your money supply political? That's the last thing you want. And then you end up with Zimbabwe and Venezuela and Nigeria. How do you do that? You need a check and balance somehow. And I personally think the best way is to make sure they're not public figures. Do they have oversight? Of course, they have oversight. Yeah, but get rid of the whole announcing. Get rid of the whole quarter point thing. Just do it. Whatever. We're going to tweak it. They could say we're going to tweak it 1/100th of a point for 10 days in a row, one at a time. Boop boop. Every morning at 8 o'clock, it's going to change. Boop boop boop. Markets would be so smooth, they'd be like glass. Woo, everything's great.
Did you say blaza?
Glass.
Oh, glass. I don't know why I heard blaza. You're like blase, blase, blase. But I think that would actually help out a lot. Instead of having a quarterly meeting or a monthly meeting, just simply let AI handle it and get rid of the Fed. Like I think we're probably about 4 to 5 years away. I mean, I interact with AI all the time. I've talked about how I'll put them together. I have it playing on one device, another device, and just have them just talk, right? Gemini. And it's funny is to listen to Grok. And I didn't realize, but Grok gets updated like 3-4 times a day. Like they update it like every day, like multiple times. And so it actually makes me, and I've noticed that it's becoming more sarcastic and much more personable in a sense. Do you ever talk with AIs at all?
Yeah, when I drive, I'll talk with them. But I don't have this. I don't have discussions with them. It's always trying to figure out a topic. Because the discussions with them are just, it's whichever data center you got that's got more of the tokens of that, of that topic, influences what you get out of it.
It's true. I don't know. Maybe I just have a very, very unbiased. I mean, but maybe it also feeds off of me. I try to keep things very open, try to see from different perspectives. So it feeds me things that are just different, like the reason why I say this is once, I forget who I was it? I forget the guy's name. But basically he was writing about how with AI, he's like, we're 5 years out, like 5 years before in real AGI. Like he goes, what we're seeing, the growth and how we're seeing it, how it's being perceived. And he goes, right now, they're all about data centers. He goes, that's not how, and he goes, sooner or later, he's like the grandfather of AI. It's like, I have the name in my head, but I can't verbally say it. And it's actually frustrating. But basically what he was saying is this, and I think it's real interesting. He's just like, we're trying to brute force it into AI, and he goes, that's not how you do AI. He's like, it's got to be based off of like more code, like it's really the code itself. And he goes, and they'll figure it out, and once they figure it out, we'll see a jump start again and really see it grow. And so like hearing him talk about this, I sat there and I was like, he's right. because giving it more neurons, it's what's going to push it to see things. But in addition to that, new ways, but more neurons doesn't necessarily mean you're smarter, right? But it's those connections that is more important. If you can get more neurons to connect and have more diverse and more outside thinking of its thought processing, then that's really, or more links in its thought processing, this is what causes it to really be able to think. And hearing him was phenomenal. So, 4 to 5 years, and we have real AGI. Dude, the Fed, they're numbered. They're absolutely numbered. And if I was them, I would literally be afraid too. I don't know.
Hopefully, a lot of government institutions their days are numbered because of AI.
What is
Bureau of Labor Statistics? Now the whole thing hopefully can go away and turns in just a bunch of people that kind of check things, make sure everything's going all right. But
there it is. For whatever the most accurate. No, who's the guy? That's what his name is. Jan LeCun. I was listening to him speak, and he was going over some of the stuff. Also, and all these guys, I feel like are at a point where it's like they're not being listened to, but they know what they're talking about. So it's like sooner or later they're going to be given that opportunity. Like, all right, we ran against a wall here. We need help. But everybody's cash flush right now, so they're just throwing money at producing something that will create an AGI. I think honestly that the U.S. government. I overheard some conspiracy theorist guy talking about how he believes that the U.S. government has a true AGI. And they're sitting there, they're using it. They're using it to plot all these large 3-piece scale scenarios to actually take over and topple governments. And this guy was basically saying Trump uses it. This is why he's able to sit there and do all these things. And so and granted, the guy is kind of a conspiracy theorist, but it's still one of those things I look at going. If the U.S. government does have go ahead.
I'll say Trump can do the things that other people can't do just because he says to do it. That's the only reason. He just let's do it. Okay, do it. Whereas everyone else is like, well, let's get 79 committees and 14,000 lawyers and let's do this and this kind of stuff. And we don't want to let the president ever to have it make something that the media might say, it may not work right. Like Biden, they didn't even let him speak to anybody. They didn't let him make decisions. Just Trump comes up and says, that's a good idea. Let's do it. And he's had some boners that didn't work, especially a bunch in his first administration and other things, the topics that he started out, really heavy on, and then now you don't hear much about, and it doesn't work. And, he even admitted, he said, I thought it would be easy to solve the Russian and Ukraine war thing. He goes, it wasn't. It's really difficult and it's driving me crazy. And he could admit that. I always tell people that work for me for ages, I said, if you fuck something up, if you admit it like that, publicly, especially to your boss, but more importantly to the people that work for you, he said you'll command the respect of people because they'll be like, yep, I tried that, fucked that up, that didn't work, we're going to try a different way. Iterate. CEOs are great, that's what their job is. Hey, here's the business plan, it's working, woo, great, ooh, it's not working. Let's iterate, let's come up with something, let's tweak it. Not just hang in till the end like, this is it, we can't change, we have to, it's gonna be good, I promise everybody. We'll let in 10 more million immigrants, it's gonna be great.
Very interesting, very interesting. Well, we've been doing good. I know we gotta make up time, but I gotta get going, my friend.
All right.
But tomorrow we're gonna go,
You're tomorrow because you're off in the day.
Nope. I'm actually open for tomorrow.
Well, it'd been nice to know that. But tomorrow morning, Natasha, Mrs. Striking, and I are driving back to Toronto because that was my free day during the day.
I got you.
So we won't be on the air tomorrow, but it's entirely possible tomorrow evening.
Well, exciting times then. Exciting time.
Is the Tuesday thing a change, or is it just tomorrow that it's different?
No, yeah, just tomorrow is different, so we're good. I found out this morning, so that's why I was like, oh, let me let him know. But really, really interesting stuff what's actually happening here. What's also interesting is watching what's actually happening with like a lot of like NVIDIA, Google, Amazon, like these, you're seeing these plays here. They're starting to diverge, right? Where you're seeing like sell off on Apple. But then when you look at NVIDIA is pushing, right? Like you can see here, that's not NVIDIA, Google's pushing to new all-time highs here, right? And then when you look at Meta here, Meta again is starting to flounder here. So it's really interesting to see these plays here. And I mean, honestly, I'm looking to be picking up. So if we see Meta again fall off even further, I'm looking to buy some up. Google, not looking to touch it. It's just screaming higher. But Apple's selling off here. I'm still looking to get in at that 237 area. And again, if you can't pay for the full stock, just go through and you can buy micro shares over at the Acorn. What is that? I am so rusty on names right now. I'm shocked to see how rusty I am. You can buy micro shares at Robinhood. And so if you got like $20, $30, $40, you can buy in and take profit, or you can take part in the profit. If we see a drop in Apple, again, this is something that I'm looking to do. And so I just share it with you guys. If you guys so choose to take part in, that's on your own risk. It's not financial advice. But again, I'm looking for that 237 area to that potentially even 200 pullback. So those are the areas that I'm looking at to see if it does come back down to those levels, then that's where I want to get into it. That's it for me there. But also Solana, that was the other part. I was heard somebody talk about Solana, and Solana actually came down to that 116 area. And so I'm really expecting this to kind of pull up to that $100 or the 100-day peer moving average, which is in that 153. All right, Tom, let's call it a show, because I keep rambling on. But wait 1 second here. Let's go ahead and look at. No, I'm just playing. Just play.
We need to go over these things at the beginning of the show when people are interested in it.
Yeah, we do. Actually, you know what? Let's do that.
Admittingly, I said like we haven't been on the air for a while, so there's going to be a lot for us to talk about today. We got that out of the way. Tomorrow, the rest of the week we'll hit up more of a structured talk and all that. But for now, ladies and gentlemen,
a lot of fun stuff going on.
Thanks to everyone that tuned in today.
Yeah, man. But we had some decent numbers, man. I didn't see it go below 15. So I know that's a
little light on the chatting out there. So some of you watched. I watched the show on Rumble the other day. Could not figure out. I tried to figure out how to get the chat up on the screen. It could not do it. So I'm sure we get a lot of viewers here on Rumble that just can't interact with us because they're watching on their big screen TV. Thank you, Crypto Mike. Really appreciate it. Yeah, Crypto Mike. I've got two of those little miners that I said that I've got so low of a chance. It's like the sun will go supernova 3 times before I'm gonna win the Bitcoin block here. Then Mike has bought one a little bit more powerful. The sun will go supernova, I think, maybe once before he wins it, but still fun. fun to participate in it and learn how the Bitcoin mining is done. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, that's all we got for you today. Welcome back to the new year. I'm thankfully done with the flu. Everything is great. If you feel the flu coming on, go just start munching zinc and ginger and all kinds of Pedro's potions to get better, because this one sucks. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, as always, my name is Tom, otherwise known as Striking, here in the digital media world. So glad to host another episode with my co-host, Mr. Pedro Garcia, the crypto chart analyst. We'll see you guys all this week, if I hit the right button. This one, and I gotta update it to 2026. It says DYOR Media Network, copyright 2025. We'll have that fixed for you, ladies and gentlemen. See ya!